This is Monsters on the Mic on the Fan 106.5, giving you exclusive insider access to coaches and players for Duluth's Minnesota Monsters football team. Recorded weekly at Lyric Kitchen Bar in downtown Duluth. Now here's your hosts, Brian Prudhomme and Dave Cook.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Monsters on the Mic. We are live recording, my favorite term in radio. Brian Prudhomme, Dave Cook. We are inside Lyric Kitchen Bar. It's nice to be inside. You look at the weather, at least on Wednesday in Duluth, it's an indoor kind of day, Dave Cook.
Absolutely it is. It's but I'll tell you, this is my kind of weather. A little bit of fog, a little bit of rain, a little bit of 50 degrees. I'm in business, Brian.
Yeah, if there's anybody that screams 50 and cloudy, it's Dave Cook, but
Yeah,
I digress.
right.
Meanwhile, the sun will come up on the Monsters come Monday. They're back home. They will take on Michigan, the Arsenal, once again. We're getting to know some of these teams fairly well because this will be third time's a charm, and the first two were also when it comes to Minnesota versus Michigan.
Yeah, I got asked by somebody who was thinking about coming to the game, and they said, how many teams are in this league? I said, I don't know. We're playing round robin with about 4 of them.
Well, we got to subtract one because Oregon said goodbye to the league almost as quickly as they said hello, but Minnesota's alive and well, having to bounce back from a loss. The Cats got them again. This Nashville team's been pretty good, but again, I said the sun will come up tomorrow. I'm hoping meteorologically it will too, but I think Minnesota's in a good spot and looking to improve on it come Monday.
Yeah, again, I think you can really learn from losing before you get into your final swing. This was your chance to make some adjustments now, see where your weaknesses are, and be ready for the rest of the season.
No question about that. You speak of final swings. How about the fact that this team already got to take its final swing, at least regular season-wise, on the road? Let's get comfortable in Duluth because that's where the rest of the regular season schedule is.
Yeah, this is going to be fun tonight or this week to see with the being home the whole time and the way the communities gotten the organization at heart over the last few years. It'll be interesting to see how attendance starts and how it grows.
Absolutely. We can talk about attendance. We can say that offense sells tickets. We can say that defense wins championships. Those are the adages, the cliches that we're used to. I'll just say this, whether it's the previous Duluth team, the current Minnesota team, defense has always been a strength and an identity of this team.
Oh, that's 100% true. And the funny thing is when we were learning about this team, that's what we were constantly drilled with too. Hey guys, yeah, we're going to score points, but the reason we're going to win this is our defense. And so I'm not sure if you and I can ever walk back from that. We had it drilled into us.
I think that's why they keep sending us defensive stalwarts to join the show. We got another one here this week. Delvon Randall is with us. The toughest part for me about Mr. Randall was getting his first name correct, but everybody's got to know this name by now because it's everywhere on the field. Good to have you here with us. Welcome to another week at home. That smile, that laughter, how are we doing?
I'm doing very well. How are you?
Doing well. So the Cats got you again, but the defense, for the most part, played pretty well. Obviously, the game didn't start the way you wanted to. It ended much better, but I think the focus is playing 4 quarters better than we did, say, a week ago.
For surely. Our goal this week is just to, play till there's zeros on the clock.
That's the toughest part. You dig a hole, and it's hard to dig out of. You guys did a valiant effort in getting back in that game, but again, just too big of a hole.
Yeah. I wouldn't say too big of a hole. I feel like some of the teammates maybe stopped believing, but in this arena game, it happened so quick. You could come back from 30 points with like 2 minutes left, to be honest. You know what I'm saying? Anything could happen.
Yeah, I think we all remember that. The first year that a Duluth team won a championship, I think the last 2 minutes took about a half an hour, and we just couldn't fully separate ourselves. Right. Sometimes when you're trying to be the team that comes from behind, that's a good thing. But at the same time, defense is mindset. You may have hit a nail on the head when you said, some of the belief stopped early. What's the mindset been like this week? Because just as much as you want to get better with X's and O's, you got to get better between the ears sometimes too.
100%. Just everybody buying in. The little pieces, we're adding little pieces, just figuring out. Like I said, it's a new league for the Minnesota Monsters, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, I feel like we're up to the challenge. It's going to get very, very interesting these last 4 games.
It's been an interesting season. We've got to talk to the players, get to know everybody. They constantly talk about a championship culture, a championship locker room. Now, what you said, where maybe some teams took their eye or some players took the eye off the prize. How do you go about balancing those two things and getting those guys back into the championship culture?
Just going to want to know. Believing in yourself is the key. With this game, if you don't believe in yourself, a lot of things could go wrong. You know what I mean? So just coming back, just being a leader of the team, just making sure that the team understands the assignment. Our reason why. Never forget your why.
Yeah, no doubt about that. We talk about the ability to come back quick because this sport, this league is just built that way. But any level of football, any version of football, Turnover battle will get you back in the game quickly. A pick six will do that as well. That seems to be a strength of yours, Mr. Randall. Talk about a pick six for us, will you?
I mean, honestly, I feel like that's just one of my strongest traits.
You're a ball hawk.
Everyone always said I was a ball hawk. You know what I mean? And fun fact, I started off playing offense. I was always a receiver.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I feel like that's just where my instincts come from.
So there's another guy that disproves my theory. I said everybody says DBs are just wide receivers who couldn't catch. That's not the case for you.
No, I always got the best hands on my team.
All right, that's fair. That challenge has been put out. Locker room material for your own team is a different twist, but here we go.
Right. That's something we've tried to avoid like the plague is locker room talk. Locker room bulletin board material anywhere. One of the ways of being somebody who is good with the ball in his hands going into the end zone is anticipation. You got to kind of know where everything is at. How do you go about pre-snap getting an idea where the route is going to be run, when you're going to get your hands, where the other players are going to be?
Honestly, repetition. The coaches do a good job at practice of just getting a lot of reps in. Coach O'Neal coming over to the defensive coordinator was a huge step, in the way of changing the culture of practice. You know what I mean? Like he demands high intensity, everything like that. And then I feel like he's putting a lot of weight on my shoulders to make sure that I'm bonding with my brothers out there. You know what I mean? And I love that child. I love that. I love everything about that.
That's pretty well said. So Delvon Randall, we're chatting with him, member of the Monsters defense. You guys both gave me pretty good segues there because Dave mentioned anticipation. You mentioned repetition. When it just comes to the opponent, both of those things are going on right now because Michigan's anticipating a Monster team that they've already lost to twice, trying to get them better this time. And then at the same time, you've got repetition of another team that you've seen multiple times. But the ultimate football cliche is tough to beat a team 3 times in a year. What do you expect to see from them? Because everybody's that's been on this show has said, we watch film, we watch film, we watch film. What do you expect to be different than maybe what you see on film? Or what do you see that's different already?
It's a copycat league.
Okay.
If you want to be honest. I trust that our guys, I'm not just saying film. They're starting to understand the game as it goes on. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Certain keys. You don't got to watch film that's no keys. Splits, everything like that. The alignment, everything will tell you. You know what I'm saying? After repetition coming and you play so much. You know? And then with the vets we got, Claude, Shockey, Shy Hill, it makes the back end job so much easier.
Right,
you know what I mean?
You're in the lap of the quarterback.
Have you noticed that everybody from the secondary has sung the praises of the same 3 guys? They got to be onto something at this point.
Well, yeah, I mean that's very true. They've got a defensive line that gets after it. It does make a cornerback's life and safety's life a little easier. But one of the questions that I have then is in this league where it's a pass first, second, and third lead, but you can get gashed by a running back. How do you stay out of the bad habit of turning and running with the receiver in a spot where running backs still can play the game?
Trusting your teammates. You know what I mean? We got a rookie Jack who stepped up and is doing very good in my opinion. Doing Torian best. Mm-hmm. Hats off to him. He's still learning the game as well. But he's not scared to stick his nose in there. And that's a plus of having a Jack who will come and fill a hole. You know what I mean?
Right.
You don't got to worry about the run as much.
Yep.
Tell me about your game in that sense, because we can talk about DBs, some of the best of all time that were good coverage guys. Dion loved to cover. Dion was not a tackler. Daryl Green, kind of the same way. But you look at an Antoine Winfield, who we like to talk about, wasn't the biggest guy. I didn't love his pass coverage, although he was good at it. But he was great at coming up and stopping the run. When you evaluate your game, how do you do that?
I honestly just tell people turn the film on, look at the stats.
Nice.
Numbers
Let
don't
it
lie.
speak for itself. I like
Let
that.
it speak for itself. You know what I mean? I think I'm 3rd in the league in tackles as a DB, and I'm tied for 2nd in interceptions. You know what I mean? There's nothing. I just try to play. I don't try to talk
throw those
much.
out there and say.
I was going to say, just throw the resume out and say,
Throw it
make
out
sure you
there.
read it.
Yep, you
Just
decide.
read it.
All right, so I'm going to do something that a coach will hate, and I'll be able to see Tony O'Neal staring right through me because he's never going to want a player to live in the past. But tell us what went well against Michigan the first couple times. This could be different. It might not come Monday night. But when you look at what we did to the Arsenal the first couple times, I joked that Minnesota turned that field into Minnesota East. What went well in those 2 trips?
I would just say the passion from the guys, never giving up. I feel like that was football. Things don't go good in the arena all the time. You know what I mean? It's about how you pick your brother up and how y'all rally back together. And I feel like we never gave up, even though it was overtime, stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's what we live for. You know what I mean? What you playing football for if you going to go out there and beat a team 50-0 every time?
Yeah, that's a
not
fair
fun.
assessment. So let's look at it another way because we talk about passion for the game. Everything's hunky-dory when you're winning. Took a loss last week. What was the attitude like? How soon after the game do we throw this out, but at the same time want to learn from it? What's the mindset been like in that sense?
I feel like we got a lot of vets, so everybody cook different, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So I would
Especially
say,
Dave. He's the most different cook I know, but go ahead.
but no, I would say like some people would take 24 hours. Some people will watch the film right after the game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's a balance of how, like, what you do. You know what I mean? So I feel like we got a good balance on the team of, getting over, and understanding the assignment. It's 1-0 each week.
All right.
So you can't win everything, but.
No doubt, but we're certainly going to try, and the Monsters have done well in that regard so far, coming off the loss, but again, home for the rest of the year. Monday night will be a fun one. We've talked a lot about what goes on the field. We do want to use this show to get to know you off the field and get to know how you got here.
Yep.
So take us through kind of the Delvon Randall, this is your life. Where you're from, football resume, etc.
I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, a small town called the Hill District.
Okay.
I went to Temple University.
Nice. Go Owls.
Yes, sir. I play under Matt Rule.
Okay.
He's at Nebraska right now.
Yeah,
Currently the head coach of
I was
Nebraska.
disappointed Brian didn't say go Cornhuskers.
I wasn't.
I wasn't going to say that neither.
No.
That's my guy.
There are certain things the FCC doesn't want you to say. There are certain things BP doesn't want to say. That's me.
No, but I went to Temple. I got a couple accolades there. Earned a single digit there. If people don't know what that is, when you get a single digit at Temple, it's earned. It's go to the toughest players on the team. Had a shot with the Eagles for a little bit. Got waived. Signed with Ottawa Red Blacks. Before I got there, I tore my Achilles.
Oh.
And then I knew Freddie Booth Lloyd, who played up in Orlando. He was just in Oregon this year. I went to Orlando with him. He wanted me to come. He wanted me to come for a long time, but I just was, just blowing up. But now I'm here and just trying to make a stamp. Just
All right. So again, the local, born and raised / meteorologically invested question on a day like today, where it is 50 degrees and raining, and this is Duluth in June. I'm sorry to tell you. What have your thoughts been of being in Duluth so far?
Duluth is a wild place when it comes to the weather. It's beautiful, but then it's times it's like gloomy.
Yeah, it's beautiful, but don't blink, right?
You know what I mean? You could look at the beach, look out to the water, you know what I'm saying? But then you look at the other way and it's like, wow, it's just a lot of trees, a lot of mountains. So it's like the best of both worlds. You got a beach and, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a little different. Born and raised, I like to hear things like that. I got one more question for you because you mentioned the Achilles injury.
Yes, sir.
To me, I use the phrase grit and grind in a lot of sports. When you come off an injury like that, you don't have a choice. Dave and I have a sports show every Saturday morning where we talk about this guy had an Achilles. What's he going to come back like? Obviously, you've come back well, but what was that journey like?
To be honest, if it wasn't for my daughter and just, having my son on the way and like my girlfriend, to be honest, at the time, I wouldn't have got through it.
Really?
You want to be honest.
Wow.
I was about to give up. Not like be honest. I was like, yeah, football's done. I'd rather just be a parent. You know what I mean?
You never know where that motivation is going to come from.
So
My kids,
my last question, we talked about the resume a little bit. I want to talk about your influences. So high school coach, father, mother, college coach, the folks that have influenced your play.
Terry Smith, which was my high school coach. He's at Penn State right now. My father, for surely, just how strong he was. My mother, and then just I would say my family, but my kids mainly.
Yeah.
My kids will never let me stop. No matter what happened, I just can't stop. I know I got them watching me. And then, as you said, and I also coach. I got a nonprofit, 412
nice.
Elite 707.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, very cool.
All my teams just ranked in the nation, 12 through 18. And I know they're watching me too, so I can't get, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
As a coach, that springboards into a whole series of questions. I want to know, what's the toughest thing to get younger athletes to grasp right now? Is it something mental? Is it the attitude? Is it the motivation? Or is there something X's and O's that you're saying, this generation just doesn't do that like we did?
All the above.
That's what I was afraid of.
All the above.
As his dad would have said to
Yeah,
him.
right.
Yeah.
Every generation before did it better, right?
Oh, yes.
That's fair. How about your influences now? I'm looking right at our own Duluth Secretary of Defense, Tony O'Neill, over there. Who's influencing you on this team?
On this
Say
team,
Tony.
I would,
He's right here.
I would definitely say Coach O'Neill, just his passion. You know what I'm saying? Just be honest, Just looking at people like, when everything falls, how you rise, how you feel me? How you gonna challenge yourself
No
to
doubt.
rise back up to the occasion?
He didn't even smirk when I called him Secretary of Defense. He knows.
He knows.
He
That's
knows.
right.
But honestly, just what he done, I salute that. And then I got to give a shout out to Coach Clark just because he gave me the opportunity to come here. I used to play with Coach Clark.
Okay.
Back in the day.
All right, so then you got to give us some dirt because I know he played the wide receiver position. Were you playing that position when you were playing with him, or were you on the opposite side of the ball? And then what was he like? Because he loves his own route running. He'll tell you.
Opposite of the ball of him, to be honest. I learned a little bit of the game from just being patient in this game, but definitely route running. He's fast. He's super quick. He's still fast. I'm not gonna lie.
So he's good, he's as good as he says.
No, he's fast. I'm not gonna lie.
Wow.
Quick. He is quick. That's one thing about him.
One of the questions, and I guess it's kind of an easy one. When did you make the change? You were receiver the whole time, and then you switched to D-back. Was that in high school? Was that in college?
So in high school, I played everything, to be honest. Quarterback, receiver, running back, safety, corner. And then I went to prep school for receiver. That's where Temple sent me. And then when I got to Temple, I played receiver for like a week during summer camp and going against like Tavon Young and those guys and stuff like that. Then I ended up moving to defense.
All right, so I got to ask, since you've played quarterback, because again, it spurs questions that I didn't think I was going to have. In any line of work, you like a boss that has done your job before, so you can look at it and say, okay, I saw it this way, so I need to do it like this, or you need to do it like this. You've played quarterback before. As a defender, how much does that help you? You get locked in on those eyes, you know what's going through their head?
100%. I felt like it's a kind of what you could. When you know, when you
That's
understand
what I was waiting for. That's exactly what I was
waiting
waiting for.
Yeah, when you understand it.
All right, last question for this segment, because I want Monday night to be loud. I want it to be fun. I want Duluth to really get into it. We're getting there, but we're not there yet. Tell the fans, tell the community of Duluth why they should come out, why they should get Amsoil hyped, because, again, we're home the rest of the year. It needs to get loud.
Come see the greatest show on turf. The season is definitely about to turn around. We got some big things smoking right now. I'm telling you, just come tune in. Don't miss out. You do not want to miss these last 4 games. And then if we went out and do what we're supposed to do, don't be surprised if we got a home playoff game. We definitely need y'all there for that, too.
You're right.
Sometimes it is as simple as that. Round of applause for Delvon Randall. I appreciate him. Segment number 1 is done. When we come back, familiar face, familiar voice. Man, how many interviews have we done with this guy?
Yeah, I'm super excited to start a new one.
Whatever it is, add 1. We don't have the number keeping track, but Tony O'Neill's been with us a lot. He'll be with us for the rest of the show. Stick around. We'll be right back. Back here at Monsters on the Mic inside Lyric Kitchen Bar. We thank them for their hospitality as always. And of course our sponsors that make this show possible as well. Sanju, where the cars are, might be where your next car is going to be very shortly.
I'm heading up there tomorrow to talk to Bill and see what it is they might have to fit my need.
Bill had a birthday this week, so go ahead and give him a belated gift that he might appreciate.
Absolutely.
And then a gift that all of Duluth and the surrounding areas seem to appreciate, Comfort Systems of Duluth.
Yeah, we had a situation a couple weeks ago where we lost hot water, and we had to call somebody, and the answer was kind of funny, but at least we had somebody from Comfort Systems Duluth to reach out. We know had our best interests at heart.
And speaking of best interests, I don't know necessarily if this is one of my best interests, but it's become a vested interest. It's the art of sports betting. St. Croix Casino Danbury took a gamble on us too.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. That's impressive that an organization, that's a pretty good sized organization, that they want to come and take a swing at little old us and support not only Monsters on the Mic, but the Northland Sports Page on Saturdays.
What I like is in our bevy of sponsors, you've got one where you quote-unquote take a gamble, and then you've got places like Comfort Systems and Sanju that have been old, reliable. And that segues nicely into our next guest, because when it comes to the history of arena football in Duluth and the guy that we talk to the most, old, reliable, is right to my right.
Yep, it is so good to have Coach O'Neill back.
Yes, Tony O'Neill, let's just call you Coach O'Neill. We'll let you fill in the rest because we've interviewed you as a head coach before. You've had multiple titles this season. You've updated me by screaming up to the press box an hour before that your title changed. So we'll let you give the resume this time, and welcome. It's great to see you.
It's great to be back, guys. You guys have been thoroughly missed. Listening to everybody be able to have the ability to speak to you these past couple of weeks has been a blessing, but glad to be here.
Absolutely. I get text from Tony going, when's my turn? I said, you tell me. And he told me this week, and I was beyond excited.
We could have let you just go ahead and schedule that, Coach. It's me and somebody else, and it's me and somebody else. Good enough?
Right. And Delvon was tremendous. But if Tony said, hey, it's me for an hour, I would have signed up for that.
That's what I was trying to talk to you beforehand. I should have brought it up earlier.
Yeah, we thought about having
three-man show, and then Delvon could be the fourth.
We thought about having an on-air production meeting and making that happen. But let's get into the world of Tony O'Neill, because I said it at the outset, and I'll say it again. Defense is the identity. Defense will carry. This offense is good, but the defense is what makes it win. You're a big part of that right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I was blessed enough to come back after the mental health journey and get myself together and come back into a world of football. Started off as the offensive line coach and getting that secured for Javonte to have a successful season, and then got the promotion back to assistant head coach and defense coordinator.
So take me through the O-line coach, Tony O'Neill, because I know I said it because that was your title at the home opener.
Right.
But I said it like Ron Burgundy reading a prompter. Ron Burgundy would say whatever's on there. I almost thought it was a typo. I said, he's doing what?
Yeah.
But you did that. Take us through
That
it.
would have been great as a PA guy.
Yeah.
What?
I'm very familiar with it. I've coached O-line before, the defensive side of things. I did it with Denfield.
Yeah.
In that great year where Tay Mans was running the ball. And Coach Eric Lofall gave me the opportunity to be with them, and that's how I got the opportunity to become the head coach of the old team. We hand-selected two of the players personally who I knew who I wanted to be here, and Boyd and Lee Brown. And then Coach had saw Gunner at the Florida National Opener and brought him up. So we had a great core of guys around us to actually get better at.
You brought up Gunner. I got to ask. He's got one of the big boy touchdowns of the year, the offensive lineman that got in the end zone at Amsoil. How cool was that?
He has two, actually. Yeah. Gunner is a very versatile player. He's sneaky athletic because he's played basketball and football most of his life, and I think he's done a little track and field too. So don't let that big persona fool you. He's a great guy, great kid, very young, and a very huge upscale in this game.
And we'll get to the defense with great volume here in a moment. But again, to continue with the offensive line, we've had Torrey Boyd on this show before. We've talked about how important the center is, regardless of level of football. To me, he kind of makes everything go for this team.
Yeah, Torrey is a great leader. He's a Miami native. He went to a rival school. It's funny watching him wear gold and blue now because he went to my alma mater at Northwestern. But, yeah, Boyd's a great person to have in the locker room. Great voice, great leader, not only with his words, but he leads by action. So very lucky to have him.
We are lucky to have him. Minnesota's lucky to have the Monsters. We're very lucky to have the palace that is Amsoil. But I like talking to the guys that have been at the deck about some of the differences, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, just what it's like in terms of how the noise gets filtered in Amsoil, how you actually see the field from a perspective maybe differently. How big of a difference is it from the deck to Amsoil for you, who's been in both?
It would honestly be with ownership. Our ownership is so hands-on. They have our backs. Everything has been made really easy by Jacob and Bree Lambert, that it's trickling down and flowing in a way that it always should have. We wish we would have had it year one and year two.
Right.
But we earned our way into having that. They got us in Amsoil, which is a huge blessing. Nothing against the deck. That's where we started. That's like the hard knocks, as I like to say. But the Amsoil was definitely a blessing, a huge blessing for us to have. We're just looking to see those seats filled like we used to have at the deck.
Well, that's what I wanted to ask you about, because the crowds have been in it, but sometimes it's harder to tell because the noise just filters different. And then personally, one of the things that I miss is my perspective in the deck. When I wanted to get the crowd fired up, I could look right at you and say, we're going to do this together right now.
Yeah.
In Amsoil, the vantage point I have is very different.
Yeah, it's I will say that. Yeah, it is a little bit different, but I'll find you this Monday.
Good. Tony O'Neill and I are going to make the noise get better ourselves. Go ahead, Dave.
Tony, I want to go back to something you said earlier, and it's about the mental health journey. We don't need to know about the mental health part, but I am very interested in knowing what part of this football played and how football maybe brought you back or pushed you in or whatnot. How did football impact the comeback of Tony O'Neill?
To be completely honest, I had no intention on being back this year. It was the owner who had reached out to me saying he needed me. He wanted me to be around. The guys wanted me to be back. The original cast that we had that was still here, that had moved into the Minnesota Monsters, of course, our quarterback and a few others. But for me, man, football's not work. I can sit at that office all day and do meticulous things all day long as it's towards football. I've learned how to become, before the titles came back, how to become an equipment manager and fix helmets and change skins and fit guys up for pads. And, just all things I never had to do because we had other people in place to do that, but I was willing to do it just to be a part of the organization, again, something that I helped build. But yeah, it made everything, it made this journey me appreciate it more. Something I never really got the chance to do. It was more so just we're going to win, championship. That hasn't been a thought of mine. I'm actually enjoying the moments because you just never know when the moment's going to go.
Right.
No doubt about that. We talked a little bit about the old cast and how many of them there are. That number seems to be growing a little bit. We can talk about one that just got here and will be back on the field with us come Monday. But before we do that, the quarterback is one thing. Javonte is going to be a big deal. The position lends itself to being a big deal. But I know, and people might as well know who listen, you and I have talked almost every week. And I said, boy, this team turned around, and it was some of the usual suspects. Jamal Couch was doing a lot. LD was doing a lot. It's the guys that we know can play this game, that you knew could play this game.
Correct.
The transition from TAL to AF1, I'm not going to say it's easy, but these guys are doing it well.
Yeah, so with that, because, it's been like a thing that other teams use to poke at us on the field that you guys can't hear. This isn't the TAL. But in all honesty, the AF1 is a Premier League But for me and for the guys, it's a lot easier because it's slower. It's not as quick as the TL per se. The defensive line isn't on you as fast as they would be in the TL because you have all these moving parts. And it's in all honesty, for me now as a defense coordinator in the last 3 games that I've coached, I'm just looking at it like, man, it's 3 versus 3. Right? You got to figure out the zone. You let your D line do what the D line does. They create pressure, create bad throws, or create hurried throws. Or hurry passes, should I say, to defenders that are covered up by great defenders. Or, I'm sorry, to the receivers that are covered up by great defenders.
So you talked about the numerics of it, the 3 versus 3, and I think we have the best D-line in the AF1. I'll take the risk of putting that locker room material out there.
Absolutely.
But the 3 years that I've known you associated with arena football, that is, I've known you longer than 3 years, but the 3 years of this sport, each year the number of players on the field for a given play has gone up by 1 for you.
Absolutely.
How does that change the way that you shape a defense?
Oh man, I'm smiling at the opportunity to become the first coach that has won a championship at 6, 7, and now going into the 8-man realm. But again, like I said, you're giving me an extra defender that I never had before in each year that we've went up. So for me, I'm getting to cover up a space that we had to worry about year prior. I think what we have going on right now is good. It's still a learning experience for the most part. Going up against these prestigious, I have respect for every coach here in the league. This isn't like the late years prior where you saw me trolling, and my respect is a but
part of me misses it. Part of me is glad it's gone.
yeah. You have to become a professional at some point, right?
I'm getting there.
But being able to learn from like the Coach Arbets, the Damian Wares, the Cedric Walkers. Learning from those guys and picking apart their film from when they played or from when they started out coaching until now. I'm a film junkie, so that's what Delvon was referring to. I'm always in the office with the film on. I'm watching, our Betts film from when he was leading San Jose in AF1 when it was the AFL. I'm really digging up some stuff right now. But we're trending in the right direction. Last time we were 5-3, we won a championship. So, we have a little bit more games now, but we're taking it one game at a time.
I hadn't thought of that. 5-3 was year 1 of the Duluth Harbor Monsters, and that was a championship season. So I'm not going to say we're right where we want to be, but we've been here before. Go ahead.
Coach, we talk about your defensive acumen and whatnot, but it helps to have vets. And I wanted to know what impact Claude has on that defense as a whole.
Yeah.
Having a veteran with that kind of experience, how do you utilize him? How does he impact the team? Man,
the best way because Claude is our heartbeat and Delvon is our brain of the operation. Like I facilitate. In years past, most coaches sometimes lose their temper. I would lose my temper a little bit. This year, we treat them like men all the way across the board. And it's just a huge respect factor. So with Claude, man, he's out there. He's gearing the guys up. He's getting ready. He's getting in his mode right before the game starts. You might even hear him chirping a little bit from the stands because he's so loud and boisterous. It's a big man. But he's a guy that's bought in fully, and we love to have him here. We're greatly blessed to have him on the roster.
So I got to ask you something that you alluded to, whether you intended to or not. You talked about some of the teams have chirped you that this isn't the TAL.
Yeah.
And that lends itself to something I've wondered. So we're a new team in the league, but record-wise, we're in that upper echelon, if you will.
Absolutely.
Last week I said this league seems to be Albany's to lose, or at least in their minds it is. And then they went ahead and lost, so hopefully I put the hex out there again.
Yeah.
Nashville's been good. Kentucky's been good. We've been good. But I've wondered, how is this team seen by the rest of the league? At 5-3, are they a threat? Or is it the proverbial pat you on the head, that's cute, this isn't the TAL still?
No, I think they're realizing that we're a force. They've played us. We have beat a lot of the teams that are under 500. We still have to prove that we can beat over 500 teams, because just like you would see with the Vikings or any other organization.
Well,
that's
we know
going
they
on
can't,
right
but don't bring that up, please. I don't have to worry about that for 3 months.
But what we have is we've had these upper echelon teams that have been around for a while on the ropes.
Yeah.
And we just winded up fizzling out towards the end, or just things go wrong. And that comes with just the experience of being here with the coaching staff and also the players. So we all take ownership in that, but we'll get better, and we're adding the pieces now that we've known we've needed for a while, and we're bringing them in, and we're getting it right.
Last week in Nashville, we heard Mr. Randall say, hey, we got off to a bad start, but some guys stopped believing.
Yeah.
Could you see that? Was that an accurate take? Was that in body language, or what gave that away?
Body language. You can always tell by body language. But at the end of the day, we have to stay bought in, and we have to stay fighting and rallying for each other. Offense has to cheer on defense. Defense has to cheer on offense. That's something that I stamped and had a standard as for the last 2 years. they're starting to understand that standard now as we move forward. Coach Clark is doing a great job, the best ability to call in the right plays and get things going. It's just been a slow start. And I think with the new weapons that we have, we'll be able to stretch the field a little bit more, and they won't be able to sit back in soft zone against us now.
Well, and I think a big part of it, too, is there's a run game that exists with this team. We just saw on social media, I think on Wednesday, that's today, of course, as we're here at Lyric Kitchen Bar, but on Wednesday, the Shannon Brooks contract extension was announced.
Correct.
And Shannon's been a big deal. You're no stranger to running the football. You were doing it in leagues that they really didn't. You got to like the fact that you got a horse back there in the backfield.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and even with that, myself and the owner sits down and we talk about this all the time. Even though it's the AF1 and it's a premier passing league, we can make our offense whatever we want it to be. They have to stop what we put out on the field. We don't have to join others and just, air it out 40, 50 times. But again, that's above my pay grade right now.
Yeah.
I'm not I'm on the defensive side, and I'm not facilitating that as the guy right now. So we're going to buy in whatever Clark wants to do.
All right, that's fair, and you are on the defensive side, but I'm still going to throw one more offensive question at you because Javante's too humble to sing Javante's own praises. His wide receivers will go above and beyond to do it.
Yeah.
I want to go to the guy that has coached him, knows him better than anybody in this sport in Duluth over the last 3 years.
Absolutely.
What have you seen from him? What's different? What's better? What challenges lie ahead for him?
His growth and his leadership. He's starting to become a little bit more vocal with his receivers. He's getting on them when they're doing the wrong things. He's using his IQ to fix what he sees out on the field in real time. So he may audible to something that even if the coach allows him to have a certain play call that comes in, if Javante sees something different, he audibles it. So he's no longer robotic. Now he's analyzing the field and he's going with what he sees.
Speaking of calling an audible, every time we've had one in a radio show, I think this is the guy we've called. Tony O'Neill back, just feels comfortable.
100%. I was talking to Coach before we started recording, and I said, finally the guy's back who I said I'd play for.
There you go. Dave Cook would run through a wall for him. I try. I don't want to see the end result. But the end result of segment 2 is a good piece with Tony O'Neill. We're going to keep him around for one more. Stick around. We'll be right back. Back here inside Lyric Kitchen Bar, Monsters on the Mic continues and wraps up already. Time flies when you're having fun. Shout out to our sponsors, of course, Lyric Kitchen Bar for the hospitality, Comfort Systems of Duluth, Sanju, where Dave may be getting a car as soon as this week,
Where the truck is.
and St. Croix Casino Danbury. Thanks for taking a gamble on us. We appreciate it.
I want to talk to Tony for a second about that, about the gambling stuff and Brennan Sorsby, the kid from Texas Tech. I see he's coming into the NFL. As a coach who's very proud of his culture, how would you bring somebody in with that background into your football culture?
Probably wouldn't.
That's the answer I was waiting for. In short,
yeah.
I wouldn't.
Yep. Nope. That's fair.
I wouldn't even have. I don't even have a clip behind that one. I'm sorry, guys. Just we're so focused on what we have going on here. I wouldn't want that distraction. I wouldn't want the possibility of something happening with that.
Yep.
Well, and the circus that will automatically come with whoever selects him is just something that can really throw a culture out the window.
I
Right.
agree.
It'll be interesting for sure. Meanwhile, we want to give the players on the field their flowers when they earn them. Speaking of which, we got one coming back. Jarve Flowers put up some numbers. Oh, by the way, with the Arsenal not too long ago. Now he's going to be a monster come Monday night. Another new guy on the team, but he's returning home. That has to make you feel good.
Yeah, absolutely. Home is where the heart is, man.
Yeah.
A lot of these guys that had moved on, of course, because I had stepped away, we are happy to have them come back now that I'm back. So,
How many of the guys that aren't back but were part of you for the first couple of years still keep in communication with you? Because I see it on social media, things about the Monsters, and Ahmad Butler's wishing us well.
Yeah.
Cromie's checking in with me to see how the season's going. These guys that have been in Duluth before,
Yeah.
I feel like part of them is still here.
everybody that I won a ring with, I still talk to this day. So we check in. They wish me well as well. They tag me in certain funny videos that have absolutely nothing to do with football. we still have a big brother, little brother relationship for sure.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that, certainly. Let's talk about the game at hand come Monday, because, again, I've thrown all the cliches out there because some will tell you if they've listened to me enough, that's what he does. But at the same time, cliches are cliches for a reason. It is tough to beat a team 3 times in a year. They know what they're going to get from you, but adjustments are going to be made. What does Michigan present that you have to be ready for, and what's different maybe this time around than the first 2?
First and foremost, man, Michigan is rolling right now. They figured out their offense. I have much respect for Sean Leota. offensive genius on that side of the ball. However, we recognize that the record doesn't display what they're doing in full time right now, especially after just knocking off an Albany, very tough Albany team, and breaking their streak. We realize this is a trap game, especially with it being on a Monday. We just have to go in and handle business. It's one rep at a time. Get after the quarterback, make him uncomfortable, make him throw aired throws, or just simply, to the fans.
Record-wise, you mentioned it's a trap game for you, and I make sense of that. It does make sense to me. On a different side of it, is it a bit of a trap game for them? Because they're coming off, hey, we beat Albany, we can beat the world. If you don't execute, you're not beating Minnesota.
I think it's honestly just blood in the water right now, man. Everybody's scrambling to have that playoff position, the top 6 teams enter.
Right.
I feel as though right now, if I was Albany, man, we could beat anybody. If I'm Leota, I'm making sure that these guys are staying mellow, not too high, not too low, and coming into this knowing that it's another road game, a short turnaround for them, another travel game. They just went to Albany, now they're coming back to Michigan, then come back to us. So they should be a little wary, a little jet lagged, we hope.
Right.
But we did just take one of their number one receivers away from them. So they do have one of our old receivers, Dan Fred Williams over there.
I remember it well.
We know exactly how to get into his head and exactly what to expect from him.
Can we tell him I'm not going to call him the threat in a visiting arena?
Absolutely.
I'll do it when he played for us. I had no problem with that. He is Dan Williams this week, and that's it.
We go with Dan Robot Williams.
There you go.
That should stir him up.
He's
a
a good
bit.
guy. I don't need him mad at me.
Yeah.
But speaking of receivers kind of switching roles on different teams, how can Jarve Flowers help you as a D coordinator and say, look, our offense is going to do this?
Yeah. He's going to come in and be explosive. He's going to help us at practice. We're not really too worried about their plays because that's my job. I study their playbook. I've watched film now over 80 times since we started the new week. I was just in there right before I came here. That's why I'm a little clear-eyed right now. But we feel as though going into this that we have taken away their speed threat. So right now it's going to be big on big. Even though that Flowers is over here, we fully respect the team and what they have going on, and for Leota to cook up something for us as far as what we've shown on film. So, of course, as you guys know, I like to stay one step ahead of the ball and have something new for him to show.
I can appreciate that. You mentioned Monday, and Monday Night Football, that's perfect for football fans everywhere. We like the idea. We like the sound of it. But it does throw a wrinkle in the week, and especially in Duluth, we all know why. Nobody wants to compete with Marathon Weekend. Let that be its own thing.
Correct.
And go ahead and play your game Monday. But you were just telling me during the break, it throws a wrinkle in your practice schedule. It throws a wrinkle in your location.
Correct.
Worried's not the right word, but any impact on overall game prep that you think could become from this?
And, our job as coaches is to facilitate and make sure that we have our guys prepared in every situation. No matter where we are or where we're going, we have to make sure that we are locked in. If we're locked in as a staff, we can lead them the right way. It'll trickle down to the right guys, to the captains and captains to the rest of the locker room. So I think we'll be fine. Everybody knows what's at stake. And again, we are used to championships here in Duluth, Minnesota, and that's what we plan on bringing.
I was going to say, this guy's the only reason I got a ring that's way too big for my hand. Go ahead.
Hey, Coach, when we first, it might even have been the first interview we ever had with you, you talked about every week there's nobody on the roster on Monday, that you always have to earn your way back.
Yep.
When you have some of the linchpin pieces that you have, Claude and quarterback and those guys, how do you, with the idea that they're going to be there, how do you fill in behind them? What are your expectations of somebody that is on the team? Mm-hmm. But if you're starting over and you're earning that spot, what kind of expectations do you have to get there? Is it just harder practice? Is it just more focus?
To be honest, man, I'm looking at seeing who's flying around, who's injured. Right now, because of the amount of vets that we have, they tend to have more owies than anybody. Their bodies just aren't the same as a young limber guy.
I just love that technical term for injuries.
We try to micromanage what we allow them to do. Instead of them having a 30-rep practice, they may have 15 reps, 5 of it being them and then 5 of it being somebody else. But outside of that, is just staying mentally prepared and locked in.
Coach, we talk to the players all the time about who their mentors were, who they learned the game from, the background. Well, your background in coaching.
Yes, sir.
Who are your mentors? Who do you learn from? Who do you want to emulate?
I mean, to be honest, man, as cool as a cucumber like Tony Dungy, he was a great guy back in the day. A lot of these guys wouldn't know about him on our roster right now. But,
The old guys right here.
yeah, the old guys.
You're
Yeah,
speaking
yeah,
the
yeah.
right demographic here. Yeah.
But then I have mentors in AF1 that when I was in the TAL, I was looking at these guys and talking to them on a daily basis, and they were telling me, man, you're wild for the things that you post. But you should probably, pull back on that a little bit. But Damian Ware, as cocky as he is, kind of learned a little bit from him in the cocky level, and then also from the coaching aspect as well. He's been a great mentor of mine. And Mike Davis from Vegas. It's just it's a list. It's truly you just pull from everybody and add to your own bread basket, and you make it your own, and you bake the loaf, and there you go. That's who you are.
I'm known for at least one non-hard-hitting journalistic question per interview. This is the one I've got for you. A guy that's done everything well in the TAL here, and now a big part of the AF1 team here. How are you adjusting to life where kicking is a big part of what we're doing? Aiden Johnson is fantastic, but in your time as a head coach indoors in Duluth, you didn't sweat this at all. Now it's a big part of what's going on.
Yeah. So we have to include Aiden. To be completely honest, before getting to know Aiden, I've never liked kickers. I just never trusted.
As a Vikings fan, me neither, except for Will Reichert, yes.
From my playing days, I lost a lot of championships due to a kicker not making his field goal. But Aiden's a good guy. It's just about getting him prepared. He's had to deal with a lot of different adversities. As you know, we don't practice in the AMSOIL daily, so we don't get to use the nets as much as we do. So just getting him to kick and getting him to do his job. When we are in the AMSOIL, when we did have that big win over Kentucky, that was my first game as a defense coordinator.
Right.
We were able to utilize the space, and he was able to knock down all the rogues and deuces that we needed him to do. It's really just preparing him, and just like we prepare everybody else. So if he's not able to kick, we can't expect that much out of him.
Right.
It really falls on offense and defense at that point.
How difficult is that? Obviously, Aiden's job specific to kicking, not being able to have access to that poses a challenge. But the special teams unit, because you mentioned that Kentucky win,
Correct.
How many short fields did we have off kickoff type plays?
Correct.
That adjustment has to take place now because there is no practice. How difficult is that?
Yeah, so we this week is going to be a little different, but moving forward for the rest of the home games and what we hope will be our first AF1 playoff game, which will be home, we will have full access to the AMSOIL. They just put down the turfing and all that stuff today. The nets are growing up tomorrow, so when we get back on Sunday, we'll have a little bit of time to play around with it.
So let's talk a little bit about the atmosphere and the volume in Duluth so far, because you got it loud in the deck. We can joke about it was you and me. It wasn't. It was you. Leave it to me to try to make it about me. But at the same time, I feel like AMSOIL needs to step up a little bit. I know it's harder to get noise to circulate, but crowds need to get bigger, louder. Yes, this is me promoting the team live on the air as we speak.
Yeah.
But how have you felt about the way the crowds have been in the two games we've had at AMSOIL to this point?
The first crowd was shocking. The second crowd I felt was like they really showed up more, but they're a lot closer to us than they were at the deck, right? Yeah. So you had that barrier and that wall where they were more looking down at us and over us, over the field. This one, they're right there. We can really fall in your lap now outside of the VIP.
The first touchdown I saw somebody did.
Right. So we're just expecting, we're hopeful that the community begins to realize that we're here, we're not going anywhere, and they start showing up like they did the last year. Last year, we kind of saw towards the end of the home game stretches, that's when everybody starts showing up.
Well, and winning does that too. Let's not forget that.
Yeah. So currently, we are above 500. We're 5-3, so we look to go 6-3 this week, and of course, one game at a time, right? But we definitely look forward to the fans returning and realizing that I'm back, and the team is, a lot of the guys are back.
How much of that comes down to learning what you're watching? Because part of it, even as the public address guy, I feel like I'm doing that. There were times when I said, I know what a deuce is, but my answer to what a deuce is not what they're talking about. Right. There are different things that people are still learning as this new team comes to town. It's familiarity with the game is a big deal.
Yeah, I think in all honesty, I think you guys do a good job at trying to explain the rules and explain things that are going on before the game.
It's my longest read before the game.
Yeah. And just reminders of it throughout the game as it goes on. And the more we can post on social media, everybody will start grasping it. But this is the closest thing they're going to get to outdoor football as far as arena, because we have a true field goal team now, a true special teams now where they're kicking the ball down. And so it should be an easy follow. It's just learning what the points do, what the points are.
And the sport itself is still so unbelievably quick, but you've said it's actually a little bit slower than the TAL.
Correct.
What are some of the guys who have played both saying about it in terms of big differences?
So for one, it's going to be the coaches. The coaches' IQs are higher at this level. And then also you're going to run into more prestigious players, guys that are coming out of the NFL or CFL or even UFL. We just signed one in Trayvon Jones. He just left the Aviators from the UFL.
Right. Another gopher for Dave.
Another gopher.
Yeah.
So I think the level of talent is higher. I think the TL was just quicker because it's you had corners playing defensive end versus true defensive ends.
Right.
I think now it's just an easy follow. You'll see who the good O lines are. You'll see who the good D lines are, and it's just truly a passing game. But we like to run the ball.
So Claude Davis has been the backbone of this team. In just about every interview we've done, somebody said it.
Yeah.
I have to ask what it's been like to take your best defender and be able to handle the ball in the red zone as well. It's fun to watch.
It's fun and it's a little nerve-wracking at the same time.
At the same time, yeah.
Because you don't want to lose them to
Right.
something crazy.
A big time owie, as they say.
Yeah, but he's a dog and he has a dog mentality, and he's gonna leave it all out on the field for you. And what more can you ask for?
Yeah, no question about that. We talk about this team and coming together and being 5-3 and just being home. Scheduling quirks happen. I mean, I looked at the start of the schedule and I went, okay, they start in April, but I'm not going to see them until late May.
Right.
Well, now you get paid back. Is there a feeling, I don't want to say of relax, but a feeling of, okay, the time is now to go get it, because other than having to go to the cities to practice due to grandmas, we're done traveling.
Yeah. Not having to travel and getting to be home is a great opportunity for us. No longer jet lag, no quick turnarounds from a Monday game to a Saturday game in a short week where you're traveling from Cali to Texas or so on and so forth. It's going to be very, very well received.
What's that been like for you? You mentioned, the season opened in New York. You've been to California a couple of times. This is different from taking a bus to visit the Lunkers kind of thing. What's
Correct.
the travel world been like?
Travel's always fun. We have a lot of clowns on the bus, so it's always a lot of jokes and pranks.
Well,
being
Zach
made.
went to one game, so that's one.
But yeah, we are a brotherhood. We bond, and we eat together. We all sleep in the same vicinity, and we hang out. And we talk football and life. That's the fun part of it.
Yeah.
It's literally just the air ride there or the waiting in the airport. That's the kind of the sucky part where you wind up waiting all day to catch a flight or whatever. You get home super late, and then you got to wake up the next day for practice.
Yeah.
So, that's the kind of the dreadful side of it. But now that we'll be home and we'll be comfortable, we check back into our hotel on Sunday back here in Duluth, and we'll be ready to rock and roll.
Thank you
good
very
luck
much
this
to
week
Mr.
on
Randall
Monday.
and Coach O'Neill. It's been fun. That is Monsters on the Mic for this week. Monsters and Arsenal, Monday Night Football. We'll talk to you later.